Are you spending a lot of money buying specialty gunsmith screwdrivers? What if I were to tell you to stop doing that because you're just wasting money? Hi, I'm Paul with RGS Restorations, and I'm going to talk to you today about my philosophy on screwdrivers being more of a disposable item and why that matters to you and why you don't have to spend all kinds of money on specialty gunsmith screwdrivers. So we're going to talk about that today, along with the geometry and the different types of grinding angles and all of that good stuff. So for an in-depth discussion about screwing with a driver, we're going to talk about that today. Okay, screwdrivers. Why are we talking about screwdrivers? Seems like a pretty simple subject, or a simple tool that you really don't have to give a whole lot of thought to. But the reality is, with guns and gunsmithing, you really kind of do. So I know I talked about in the opening having them kind of be as a disposable tool. Well, not really so much in terms of disposable, like you break one and you throw it out, disposable. But I certainly don't put a lot of emphasis in buying specific gunsmith screwdrivers. And I'm going to get back to those with saying why you wouldn't want to use like just standard screwdrivers that you buy at a hardware store or, wherever. So if you take, I'll just pick on some of these Snap-on screwdrivers here. Now, I do tend to be a bit of a tool snob, I will admit it. I've had Snap-on forever, so I have some of these for the Snap-on guys out there that like tools. These are the triangular handled ones. And I think they were called Power Grip, and they came out before, well, not before the square handled ones. I think they were maybe in the 80s. There's people that collect this, and I'm sure you guys know. Let me know in the comments. But here's a white torque grip, I do believe they were called. That's the four-sided blade in a pearl. So anyway, back to the screwdrivers as to why, one, I'm not going to go grinding up expensive screwdrivers like this. That's just kind of silly. But these, if you go buy standard mechanic screwdrivers, the angles are wrong for gunsmith purposes, and they're always too thick and fat. Even when you get smaller ones, they're usually just too thick and fat. So I buy standard screwdrivers, but they tend to be ones like these Stanleys or these Pratt and Reed. Says they're stand with USA. I've had them for a long time and they do work pretty well. So what I do is I will buy not very expensive screwdrivers, $3 to $5 screwdrivers, and I grind them all to fit the firearms that I work on. Now, if you only have maybe like one or two guns or a few firearms that you work on, you may not need that many screwdrivers. You could maybe get like a kit with the bits and be perfectly fine. If, on the other hand, like myself, you work on a lot of firearms, you're going to have a ton of different screws that you come across. I could pick out like all of these things here, and they all have different slots. And, like if you take, say like a Browning A5, you have the little tiny lock screws with a really thin slot. Well, you're going to need a screwdriver for that. Then you're going to have the bigger screw that is being locked into place, and you're going to need a different screwdriver for that. All very fine blades. So I grind all my blades, and I just grab a whole lot of different screwdrivers and I grind them up as I need them. If I don't have one that fits, I'll grab another screwdriver and I'll grind it. You're going to have a bunch of them, maybe say a dozen or so. The number is really irrelevant. But after a while, you will have enough different sizes and thicknesses in the blades to where you won't have to keep grinding. I mean, it's not like you're going to end up with 100 different screwdrivers, but certainly more than you're going to get in just a basic standard gunsmith screwdriver kit. And again, like I said, they work well and all, but you're kind of limited to exactly, how many you get, and it doesn't allow you much freedom. So just by taking standard screwdrivers and grinding them the way you want them is going to give you a lot of choices when you're working on a firearm to ensure that that screwdriver fits in that screw slot tight and it's not wobbling around, and you're going to do the minimum amount of damage and hopefully none at all to the slot. So, and get the most amount of torque on it. So anyway, I'm going to go and I'm going to show you how I take something like this and I will grind, like specifically grind it to my needs. So just basically like a couple different screwdriver tip profiles. You're going to have your standard tapered tip, you're going to have a hollow ground, and then you will have some that are called like cabinet screwdrivers. And that's kind of what I do here, is like a modified hollow ground. We'll cover those, and then we'll talk about some of the other applications and maybe some tips and some tricks on how to get stuck fasteners out of firearms. So for this first screwdriver that you can see is a little bit gnarled up there, I am going to do just a hollow ground profile on this. And my grit that I have on that belt is I think it's 150 grit, just a standard 3M 150 grit. And so now you'll notice I am not wearing gloves, and that is not just for the purpose of being ignorant or anything like that. I am not wearing gloves because I want to feel the heat input on that screwdriver tip. If I were to wear gloves, I wouldn't be able to feel when that is getting hot. And if that screwdriver tip is getting too hot to hold by hand, it's too hot. You're going to ruin the heat treat in it. So it will need to go and be quenched. So, okay, for the second screwdriver here, I'm going to show you basically a modified version of a hollow ground where the tip is pretty much parallel, or yeah, perfectly parallel for the screw slot. And I'm going to start with just a hollow grind profile, taking a bunch of meat out of there, but I will then flip it and I will grind those, the very tip of that a little bit on each side. I will grind that so it's perfectly flat. And that is to be able to easily get into very fine screws that you'll typically and commonly find on double guns. Now, again, you'll notice I'm not wearing any gloves, so I can feel that tip. If that tip starts to get too hot to handle, it's got to go in the water. If you turn that tip straw color or blue color or anything, you've pulled the temper out of it, and it is now not going to hold any kind of a tip to use. Okay, so one of the things that you're going to have is eventually you're going to, if you're doing a lot of work on firearms, you're going to run into a firearm that has a lot of corrosion or rust. Maybe there's a lot of rust and pitting going on there. And that is where the impact driver, the old-fashioned impact driver, still works pretty well with the removable tips. I just shoved a pretty big tip in here, and this one obviously is ground to fit thin blades on a double gun. But I just wanted to go over quick the best way I have found to use these. Of course, they're either going to tighten, they're either going to turn to the left, or they're going to turn to the right for left-handed threads or standard right-handed threads. And you can just take them, put them on there, and start hammering them with a hammer. That doesn't work nearly as well or efficient as if you take that and you preload the spring mechanism in here. And what I will do when I'm removing a stuck fastener is I will align the screwdriver bit in the slot that I'm trying to remove. I'll have, the firearm properly padded and supported, and I will push down on it. And you'll see here that when you push down on it, it's going to want to start to turn it. So you'll push until it stops. And the goal here is you almost want to preload the impact driver and then give it a hit with the hammer. And what that will do is, rather than having the hit of the hammer take up all that spring tension and then try to turn the screw, it's going to, when you take all that preloading out of there, it's going to immediately start to transmit all that energy to turning the screw right away. So I've found that is a way to make these little guys work much more efficient, and you don't have to go out and get super crazy expensive on one of these. This one was probably, I have no idea. I've had it for a long time, and I probably didn't pay a whole lot for it. I don't think I got it from the Snap-on dealer. I don't know, maybe I did, but I don't think so on this one. And these work really well as far as getting stuck fasteners removed from actions that where sometimes screws just don't want to remove from at all. This is a great tool for that. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to show you one more method using a drill press or a milling machine to be able to remove a stuck screw. Okay, so for our last little helpful hint on little tricks to get out really tough and stuck fasteners, this will work with a drill press. This works on my Bridgeport that I have here. And we're just going to take a bit and we're gonna, this one, normally I was talking about always using a bit to fit the width of the screw slot. This one isn't quite as wide as I would want, but it's the longest bit I had, and I wanted some depth between the chuck and the work piece so you can get a better idea. Most of my other bits are on the shorter side for this. So anyway, you'll just take your bit and we're gonna put this in our chuck, and it does not need to be tight, just tight enough. And we are going to align, we're going to align the chuck bit with the slot, which might take a little bit of messing around. And I thought I might have had this kind of close to begin with, but maybe not as close as I had thought. But whether you have a table or whatever you have, you just want to move it around and you'll feel it. Okay, like that one there, I felt that drop down into place. Now, I just want to say, this is a junk receiver, double gun receiver in here. This is not like anything important. This is a scrap piece of steel. I didn't want people to think that I'm just taking a customer's receiver, my own receiver with no protection and just cranking it into a vise. This is junk, this is scrap, so it doesn't matter how we vise it up. This is just a demonstration on how to remove a stuck screw. Now, that screw in there, it looked like someone else had tried to take it out because there was a burr that had already worked up on it. But anyway, I have the bit is down into the slot, it's in the chuck, and you do not use power for this. Do not turn on the power or anything like that. I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure, downward pressure on the spindle. I'm going to take my thumb on the pulley and I am just going to turn that back. And there we go. It didn't take a lot to get it to move, but it took enough. Obviously, you know, I'm dealing with a pulley that's that big, so the amount of leverage that I'm getting on that, plus the downward pressure of the spindle on the bit, is keeping that very well locked into that hole. Now, I have found that if using this method, if it's not going to come loose, you're either going to twist the fastener off or you're going to twist off the tip of the bit. And well, if that's going, you're probably going to need heat, more soak time or whatever to get that out of there. But that is definitely a problem if you run into that, which is where the impact works good, because you are using, you know, the impacting, shocking, and the twisting motion all at once, where this is just a twisting motion, albeit a very precise, so things can't move twisting motion. But anyway, that's a quick little tip on how to remove them using a drill press or milling machine. And that usually works pretty well. And hopefully that works for you good. All right, so that's it. That's just kind of a quick little rundown on how to grind them, how I grind them, the different tip angles and some geometry. And you just, again, to recap, you always want to make sure that when you're grinding your screwdrivers, have a dish of water handy and keep cooling it. I am always able to, when I'm working it, I can feel it. As soon as that starts getting hot on my fingers, I'm starting to quench it. If you see any heat tint on there, if you turn that tip blue, you've gone too far. Now, I used the baiter. You can always use a grinder, you know, just your traditional shop grinder. Doesn't need to be anything fancy there. Get a wheel dresser so you can keep your face nice and true. It will definitely help when you want to put a flat edge on there and true up your screwdriver. But you can use a grinder. I just happen to use the Bader. It all works really well. One other little tip I'm going to leave you with is we do a lot of work on single action Armies, and for the single action Armies, what I like to do is I like to grind the screwdriver so it's perfectly fitting the slots of the screws for the trigger guard and the back strap. But one other thing that I do is, since that is going down into the recess on the trigger guard and in the back strap, I take and I grind or polish or round off with the belt sander the edges so that's really smooth in there. I grind the slot so it fits the screw perfectly, and then I put a nice radius around the edge of that. So when I'm taking those out, I don't accidentally nick the pocket that screw sits in and take off the finish that I just applied or do any scratches on there, which can happen very easily, especially if you take a screwdriver like I was doing and you put those edges on there. These things can get really sharp, and you will dig out that steel pretty easy with a sharp edge on a screwdriver. So anyway, that's it. Hopefully I left you guys with something that you can use, maybe some helpful information that works out for you, that you can apply to your own workbench. This is just how I do it. By all means, it is not the only way to do it. If you have great luck purchasing screwdrivers or Gunsmith screwdrivers or using the bits, that's awesome. Keep using them. For my application, because I work on so many guns and we work on so many in our shop, we end up with a lot of screwdrivers all over the place, all ground differently to accommodate all those different screw slots. So anyway, until we see you at the workbench or at the range, take care and happy shooting.